Hello, crafting friends. I'm Dorene Decibus from It Begins with Ink and Paper, and welcome to Simply Stamping Sunday, the hopefully last pre-recorded episode of this. This I'm recording on Friday the 21st. I am a good 9 days out of surgery and doing well. I'm still dealing with the pain, which is frustrating but understandable. And we are actually leaving for a vacation for a week in Maine. So I'm going to do my a nice week of recovery on the beach. And then on the 30th, we come back on the 29th. On the 30th, I will be ready to go live again. So I'm looking forward to that. But thank you for joining me anyway. So this is our third week of using Spotlight on Nature. And I've had a lot of fun with this. This has been kind of my challenge set because I love this set so much, but I love coloring it and doing all of that and trying to find all the different ways to use this without coloring or using anything but stamps, ink, and paper has been a good challenge for me. So let's review what we've done so far. So for week one, we just did some very, very simple stamping, and so those were the 3 cards that we made. I showed you how by just taking a marker you could add some dots to just highlight some of the images. So that was week 1. And then last week for week 2 we added a lot of color with designer series paper. And I showed you 2 little tricks how we could do some paper piecing by stamping the entire image in our leaf color and then stamping the flowers onto designer series paper, and then of course cutting them out and gluing them. And then the other very lovely colorful one that we added was this one with the butterfly, and I showed you how stamping the butterfly and then cutting one out without the body and just moving it a little bit gives it a look like it's flying. So those are the 6 cards we have made this month so far, and today we're going to make 3 more. And today we're going to add a lot of brightness and color. Now maybe not in the first color because I'm doing it in more neutral shades, but as we go along you're going to see that we have, we're going to be doing a lot of brightness and color. So this is the first card we're going to be making. We're going to be doing a lot of stamping on designer series paper today, and that's how we're going to add our color to our image. And I did cut out one of the butterflies. And so let me show you how we're going to do this one. So for all of our paper scraps, let me just get everything out. We're going to need, I'm going to use for my neutral color, a piece of basic beige. So we're going to need to cut that by 8.5 by 5.5 and then fold it in half. And then to layer on the front of it, I have a piece of early espresso that measures, I believe this is, 4 by 5.25, so just, our normal layering. And then I have a piece that is just of the designer series paper, the Country Woods, that's just going to layer on this by 1/8 of an inch. So this measures 3 7/8 by 5 and just drew a blank, by 5 1/8. Okay, so let's just add this and attach it to the front of the card. I've really had fun with this set this month, and I have some great samples for you for next week as well. And then I'm going to just attach this to the front of our card. There we go. I may have said those measurements incorrectly, so please forgive me for that. I am going to be posting all of the measurements in the description on my YouTube channel. So if you're watching it on my Facebook channel, just click to the YouTube link and you'll find all the measurements there. I don't have a cheat sheet in front of me because I find sitting at my desk is a little bit tiresome for my back. So I haven't done that yet, but I will be posting that. So please be looking there. So I'm going to do some stamping now. So first I have this piece that comes from the same country lace. It is 2 1/4 by 4, and I am going to be using Early Espresso ink, and I'm going to be stamping the leaves on this one. So for today I'm going to try to make the leaves the focal point of one card, and I'm going to make the flowers the focal point of another card, and I am going to make the butterflies the focal of my last card. Okay, so there we go. I'm also going to be stamping the butterfly. So I just have a scrap piece of white paper here to scrap that, to stamp that rather. And then I am going to take a piece of basic white, which is 5/8 of an inch wide. I didn't really measure it out because I'm going to be cutting it down, but you need it to be 5/8 of an inch wide. And I am going to be using my Dear Friend stamp on this. So I'm just going to ink that up and make sure I'm lining that up. I don't like it. I want to go up a little higher. We'll see which one I like the better. The second one. One of the reasons why I like to make it longer. So what I'm going to do with this is I am just going to trim this off, the piece I didn't like. And on this end here, I am just going to cut it so there's a little banner on the edge. And that looks good enough. And I am going to mount this on a piece of Early Espresso that is, I believe this is, it's just 1/4 of an inch larger. And just so you can see a little bit of the brown around it. And I'm going to do the same thing. I'm just going to trim the edge off. And these are the pieces of paper I get, you know, when you've been doing your cutting. So I just keep them so I can use them when I need them. So there we go. And this piece is actually going to go across that piece. So I'm going to take this piece that measures 2 7/8 by 4 1/8, and this is going to be mounted on this, and I've got my tape somewhere. There we go. And this piece I'm going to be putting right across the bottom. And it's going to go on the front of the card. And then we just have 2 things left to do for this card. I'm going to be doing a lot of cutting of butterflies today. with all of my cards. So I do want to show you just a little trick when you're cutting out, when you want to cut out the whole butterfly. So there's the front of the card. And what I'm going to do is start with the hardest part to cut. And that's going to be my antenna. Because I want those to not be cut off at all. And I don't want to wait until the very end when I don't have a lot of cardstock to hold. Right now I have the whole piece of cardstock to hold. So if I start here with this hardest part, then it's going to be very easy, well, easier to get those antennae cut out the way I want them to be cut out. And then I can just continue to go around the outline of the butterfly. I like to leave a little bit of white edge. If I think I leave too much, I can always go back in and trim that piece. But now I was able to cut that and get the antenna out really nice. And just in case I didn't, I had an extra one cut. So we're going to use some dimensionals. Let me just see where I hid them. And then the choice is up to you where you want to put your dimensionals. It could come right down here by your label on either side of it. It can be up in the open area. For the card that I made in my sample, I had such an open area up here, I decided to put the butterfly there. But this one, I've got a little some little extra spaces. So I think what I'm going to do in this one is put it right down here by the greeting, just to make it a little different. And there we go, that's the front of our card. And on the inside, I have just a piece of the designer series paper. That I'm going to place right on the inside of the card. Trim any little bit that's extra coming off. And since I have this extra butterfly, we might as well add him to the mix. And put him on the inside. And there we go with card number 1. Let's set those aside. Card number 2 is this card right here. Such a pretty card. All right, so let's get some of the pieces together that we can do, and we'll do all the stamping in just a minute. Let's set those pieces aside that we'll be doing our stamping. So I have here a piece of 4 1/4 by 11 inches of cardstock, just the other way to cut and fold it. And I have, for the front, just a regular 4 by 5 1/4 piece of Calypso Pool Party paper. I have some designer series paper from the Brights package that measures 3 by 4, and this measures 3 1/8 by 4 1/8. I have just a scrap of my Pool Party cardstock to do my stamping on, and then I have a piece for the inside of my card that again measures 4 by 5 1/4. And I have a piece of designer series paper that's going to go just along the bottom. So let's do that piece first. So we'll just get this on the inside of the card and out of the way. There we go. And then we're going to do some stamping. So I'm going to start with this piece here, and I'm just going to grab a scrap of paper to put this on. And what I'm going to be doing is taking my pool party, and I'm going to just be doing some background stamping. And I want, sort of like making my own designer series paper. So I'm going to take and ink up the floral image with the pool party. And I'm just going to be going around and stamping around the edges. I don't need to stamp in the middle of the card, though you're going to see that in some cases it is going towards the middle of the card. I'm going to go in all different directions. And I'm just trying to fill in some space. I think that's good. So that's what it looks like. Give you an idea. We're not going to see that middle part, so that is okay. I'm just going to grab my Stampin' Clean because I'm going to be using the same stamp. Just might as well clean all of them that I've used so far. There we go. So now the next part is to set this aside, and I'm going to stamp on the designer series paper using the Memento Black ink. There we go. And then the final bit of stamping is going to be right onto this piece of paper, and I'm going to be stamping a thanks. There we go. Perfect. And I'm going to want this to go across the front, so I'm just going to give it a little snip right there. And again, just cut a little bit of a banner. Perfect. And this is going to be attached to that piece. Make sure it's going as straight as I can get it. Perfect. This piece will be mounted on this piece of black. This will be mounted to that piece we just stamped. And then this will be mounted to the front of the card, and this card is all said and done. Quick and easy way, and using this designer series paper to add some great color to our card. Okay, we'll set this one aside. And now for our final one, which we're going to really be using the butterflies for. And so this is what our final card looks like. So we're going to be using the Brights Designer Series paper. I use the Subtles with the Pool Party, but this one is the Brights. And this one is going to open up, and we're going to also find a butterfly inside. So let's get started. So I have a piece of thick Whisper White cardstock that measures 8.5 by 5.5. And I am going to just set this aside. What I'm going to do, I have one of each of these colors, and I am not going to do the cutting. I am going to do the stamping, because then I'll have some all stamped and I can just cut them out when I'm not doing anything special and have them ready for another card. But I'm just going to, I chose the circle design for all of these colors. So they're all going to have the same kind of colored background. I have, let's see, I'm stamping right now on the Calypso Coral. This is the Azure Afternoon, Delightful, Daffodil Delight, Lemon Lime Twist, and Flirty Flamingo. So those are the colors that I'm using. And then on my, I'm going to use Dear Friend again. And I am just going to try to stamp this in the middle. Perfect. And we can put the ink away. Now, I went through and cut all of these. So we'll set those aside. And through the magic of TV, we have them all right here. I also cut, I think these are 3 3/4 length. Yep, 1 by 3 3/4. All right, so I'm going to start by just getting everything onto this piece of cardstock. So I am not going to be putting these in this straight, beautiful lineup. I am just going to be putting them kind of in a zigzag little twist up and down motion. That way, for the first part, you don't have to worry about being uneven, because you're purposely not putting them even. And so I like that idea, that I can just have it be more, myself. I have alternated for these designs, both the stripes and the circles. And I will say that I did put it down the first time so that I could see that it was going to work. But then I haven't, I didn't really worry about it after that. So there we go. So we have all of our pieces on now. And now we can start adding the butterflies. So what I did was I just kind of tried to separate the colors so the colors wouldn't be near each other. And I'm just going down a straight line down the front of the card. And so I can adjust these as I like them. I'm going to start with my middle one, though I am not going to press it down hard or sturdy yet. I'm just going to kind of lay them to make sure they look fine when I'm done. There, I think that looks good, so I'll press them down. I'm going to take my label here, and I am going to just cut it at a little angle. I'm going to attach it to this. And then I'm going to do the same thing. I'm just going to cut it at a little angle. There we go. I'm going to take this butterfly and just attach it to the end here with just a little bit of adhesive, not much at all. Kind of let the D fit right in those wings. And then I'm going to add some dimensionals for the back. And I am going to put this so it kind of goes under and on top of our butterflies. There we go. Then all we've got to do is add this to the front of this piece of basic black cardstock. Make sure it's even. And then add this to the top of the white card base. And then add our butterfly to the inside. And that is our third card. Adding color with designer series paper by stamping on it and by just adding those peaks of color. So those are the 3 cards that we made tonight. Thank you for joining me. Make sure you take the time to give me a thumbs up, subscribe to my channel. That's one of the biggest things you can do to help my small business. Like my Facebook page, write a little comment if you enjoy what you saw, and I will be back next Sunday night live on June 30th for the last Spotlight on Nature presentation. So have a great week, everyone. See you soon. Good night, everybody.